Universalists, we believe truth is larger than any one book or way. Religion and science go hand in hand. Integrity requires freedom of conscience. Diversity is something we celebrate. In the struggle for justice, we come alive. Our highest aspiration and calling is love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever path you are on, you are welcome here. Each week we light the chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Elizabeth Gerenser, your worship associate for today. We're glad you're here this morning, and we're so glad to have the viewers who are watching online. Welcome to you also. We have so much that's good going on at West Shore. Check out the West Shore Weekly in your order of service to learn about events coming up and how you can get involved. I'd like to note that our labyrinth is open after the service in Baker Hall until 1 o'clock, and coffee hour today will be in the rotunda and the fireside room. We're excited to welcome West Shore's youth group to lead today's service. They crafted the service on their own with the guidance of the youth ministry coordinator, Mel McGuckin, and the youth advisors. Mel and the youth advisors are sitting in support in the front row. Let's now greet each other warmly. While we're doing this, The children are not dismissed to their classes as this is an intergen service. Maybe as an icebreaker today when we're greeting one another, consider sharing who you were when you were a teenager. Were you the football captain? Were you the loner, the druggie? You might want to disclose that. Were you forging your own path? Working with your own path colleagues to forge yet another newer path for the new upcoming kids? All are classic and brave and bold. West Shore's teenagers aren't so different from how you yourselves were. Remember to offer a wave to those joining us from home.
We come to this good morning, remembering the journey of freedom. The land we are on was once another's. We mourn the legacies of oppression. Healing is our way forward. Joy is the birthright of all.
Wow, you all really loved that question, didn't you? I'm looking forward to hearing who you all were in high school during coffee hour. And now it's time for our story for all ages. Our story today is called Unplugged by Laura Peterson and illustrated by Penny Weber. In our story, a young girl named Ella is upset that her family is glued to their electronic devices. Maybe you have experienced this too. Or maybe you've seen families at a restaurant, each of them absorbed in their own smartphones. Let's now hear Ella's story. Ella raced downstairs. She was excited because Friday meant having blueberry waffles for breakfast. She also had thought of a perfect word to use playing a word game against her brother Carlos. Her father sat at his computer in the living room, reading the news. "Good morning, Daddy," said Ella. Without turning around, he said, "Hi, honey." Carlos was already at the table, playing a video game. "Good morning, Carlos," said Ella, but he didn't seem to hear her. She got out paper and pencil to start the game, but Carlos ignored her. Ella's mother had a briefcase in one hand and a cell phone in the other. She nodded towards the milk and cereal already on the table. "But you said we could have blueberry waffles today," said Ella. Hold on, said Ella's mother. "I'm sorry, Ella, I forgot. We can have them tomorrow." Ella's older sister, Maya, walked past the table towards the door, reading her texts. "Wait," said Ella, "you promised to do my hair before school." Maya knew how to do all sorts of beautiful braids, even the inside-out ones. "Tomorrow," said Maya. "Tomorrow. I've got to meet up with some friends now." Ella scowled. Her family used to have breakfast together every single morning. They would talk and play guessing games, but now all they did was stare at their screens. "Why can't we all talk like we used to?" she asked. But nobody was listening. That afternoon, Ella rushed home from school and looked for her father, who had promised to go bike riding. No one was home yet. Suddenly, Ella had an idea. She went through the house collecting charger cords for phones and laptops. She even took any small electronic devices she could find. In their place, she left a note that said, "Talk to Ella." Just as she finished, her mother arrived home and went to plug in her phone. "Ella, have you seen my charger? I left it right here on the counter." "In here," said Ella, as she held up a laundry basket filled with cords and gadgets. Maya came home from school and said, "What have you done with my iPhone?" "In here," said Ella, and pointed to the basket. Then Carlos came home and said, "Give me back my stuff." "What's going on?" asked Ella's father. "Come on, Ella," said Maya impatiently. "My phone battery is dead. My friends are trying to tell me where to meet them." "And Ryan is on his way to play video games with me," said Carlos. "I wish that nobody in this family had phones or video games or computers," shouted Ella. Ella's mother sat her down and asked, "Is this your way of telling us you think you're old enough to have a cell phone too?" "Do you feel left out because you're the only one without a phone?" asked her father. "No," said Ella. "I don't want a phone yet. I just want my family back. I want things to be the way that they were before you all got so plugged in." Ella returned all the things she'd taken, the chargers and the games and the phones and the gadgets. Her father plugged in his laptop, her sister ran off to charge her phone, and Carlos went to his room to play a game. When Ella came downstairs to breakfast the next morning, the rest of the family was already at the table, and no one was texting or talking on the phone. There were no video games either. Everyone was smiling at her. Her father said, "Ella, we're making some changes. Breakfast time is family time from now on." A big smile crossed Ella's face. There were even blueberry waffles on the table. "Eat up," said Dad. "You'll need your energy. We're all going on a bike ride today." "When?" asked Ella. "Right after I beat you at our word game," said Carlos. "Dream on," said Ella, because she already had a terrific word in mind: unplugged. And that is the end of our story. And now we will hear from Sienna, a member of our high school youth group. She will share with you some of the effects of being so plugged in and what it can affect in teenagers. So here's Sienna.
Okay. My name is Sienna. For my reflection, I will be citing and sourcing from a New York Times article called "The Phone in the Room." And this is along with my personal input. Social media is a rabbit hole. With the rise of the technological age, teenage mental health has begun to deteriorate. And I have a quote from the article: "The deterioration of teenage mental health predates COVID and Trump, and the deterioration is evident in countries that didn't elect Trump and don't endure mass shootings. The mental health trends line up better with the spread of digital technology, including the introduction of the iPhone and the rise of selfie culture. None of these previous doomerism created a teenage mental health crisis like today." Social media and phones also waste time. Another quote from the same article, typical American teenagers spend about half of their waking hours on their smartphones. I find people are constantly finding a reason to be on their phones. In certain situations, it may be easier or less awkward to be on a phone, especially for teens. Starting around 2008, teen mental health has begun to deteriorate, for girls especially. Suicide rates have increased, people feel more lonely or sad, and in-person socialization has declined. Some benefits of phones and social media are you can stay connected over longer distances, you can take photos and videos, you don't need to pull out your camera or anything. And phones are great in case of an emergency. Rates of teen deaths and vehicle accidents have declined, so have teen pregnancies and bullying. I speculate that some of those benefits may be because people are spending less time with each other and more time on their phones. Even so, phones are an important tool used in today's world and are very beneficial if we use them wisely. Some ways you can help yourself use your phone better. Limit your screen time. For example, have screen timeouts set on your phone, or only use your phone during certain times of the day. Delete or minimize the use of social media apps, and don't be on your phone if you don't have to.
are some of the joys and sorrows of our hearts, which Reverend Anthony will take into his meditations this week, and pray for all that is our lives.
The first iPhone was released in 2007, a year before I was born. However, the first Apple product I ever had was the iPad mini, purchased for me by my Chinese for Grandpa. I loved it. All I wanted to do was watch Monster High and Ever After High videos. My parents definitely knew I was queer. Then, I remember getting an iPod mini, which was really just an iPhone with no ability to put a SIM card in it. Of course, being really young, I primarily used it for dress-up games. Technology has evolved as I have grown up, and I think that gives me a really different childhood than the older generations. Even the generation before me, millennials, only had the internet at the end of their childhood, while I've had it for as long as I can remember. This has evolved our society into a less social one. Is texting your friend while they're next to you really a social interaction? Not really. I think because of technology, it was ripped to some social things done by previous generations that didn't have technology as prominent in their lives. Why didn't I get to study in the school library with my friends, trying to figure out the history homework from the school set of encyclopedias? Okay, I really don't want to do that, but still. I wish I wasn't separated by a screen whenever I want to talk to someone after school. Okay, I really can't say anything because I'm not the most social person, but I think technology and my own personal neurodivergency are at play with that one, which makes all of my social interactions online, but are they really social interactions if I'm not really social? But having the tech to make my interactions with people online made me less social because of it, so I rely on it to be quote-unquote social with people. Whenever I text someone, I feel like the screen creates a weird wall of actual social interaction. What happened to letters? I would sell my left kidney in a heartbeat for a passionate love letter by my own personal Prince Charming, but that's just a fantasy ruined by the Enlightenment era, so I don't think technology itself is to blame for that one. But letters, actual handwritten letters, even saying letters right now just tickles something inside of my soul. So in conclusion, I need to get out more so robots don't steal my kidneys on the black market because of all this technological advancement. And I need to write a letter to someone so I can actually get one back. Thank you for listening and giving me this opportunity to make this my own Youth Sunday.
Thank you, Em. That was really, really cool. I'm going to read Malachi's reflection. Malachi is 16, and he is a sophomore at Lakewood High. Teenage life is stressful in general, because high school in general is full of people, and people stress me out. Technology is helpful, but people who aren't used to technology being so used in school aren't very helpful sometimes. When technology is used, it is extremely easy to do stuff, but you're constantly being monitored by your school for your own safety, they say, but it's a bit of an overkill, right? Basically, it's spyware, and someone constantly monitors what you do. You can easily trigger it on accident. if you're not careful. School officials will want to know what you looked up, and if you don't have a very good excuse, you could get into serious trouble. This makes me feel used sometimes because I feel they're using technology against me. If I look up anything, they can find out what I looked up. If I look up stuff to try to help myself, I could get into trouble. It's overkill, and the censorship is triggered by certain words or websites. I feel that they should warn you about what triggers the software, so you don't accidentally trigger it when you are extremely bored. I know they're trying to help, but they make you sign your life away using rights to use your school's computer. They restrict most of the internet. You will, for example, get into trouble if you look up some government websites about gun control. Also, they restrict violence, which is a good idea. In general, be careful about what you sign for school computers. There's a little bit of a gray area there. Sometimes it doesn't teach you how to manage your own freedom without enforcing rules that are sometimes too strict. Thank you, Malachi.
I would like to invite Scott and Dawn to share their testimonial.
Good morning, West Shore. I'm Dawn Bellinger, and I've been a UU since 2007, and I've been a UU, or a member here at West Shore for almost a year. And this is my husband, Scott.
I'm Scott Leonard, and I've been a UU since about 2003, and a member of West Shore for about a year.
Scott and I give to several charities. We give to Planned Parenthood because we believe in its mission to ensure that all people have access to the care and resources needed to make informed decisions about their reproductive health care.
We give to National Public Radio because we believe in honest journalism, and because my car radio has 5 of its 6 preset buttons set to NPR stations.
We give to the League of Women Voters because we believe in its mission to protect and expand voting rights. And it has been fighting for democracy for over 100 years, and we're not done yet.
We give to the Alzheimer's Association because my mother was diagnosed with dementia when she was about 80 years old, and her father, my grandfather, was diagnosed with dementia when he was about 80 years old. So it would be rather nice if there's a treatment or a cure by the time I'm 80 years old.
We give to these charities because they are important to us, they do good work, and this is one of the ways in which we live our values. But one thing these charities all have in common is that they have long lists of donors. 100,000 donors, 1 million donors, 5 million donors. It is hard to tell if our contributions make a difference.
But for West Shore, it's just us. It's just 280 households in our village. All of these national charities will tell you your contribution makes a difference. But here at West Shore, only our contributions make a difference. Look around this room. This is our community. This is the only place our contributions come from. That's why your contribution makes a huge difference at West Shore.
West Shore is important to me because I don't have to hide my humanism and my atheism. I feel that my beliefs are supported and valued here. West Shore to me is a place that is dedicated to preserving and fighting for human rights. From the moment Scott and I walked through West Shore's doors, I feel that we have been enveloped in kindness, love, and acceptance. We are part of a beloved community at West Shore.
West Shore is important to me because it's my tribe, my village. West Shore is my sanctuary. West Shore is where I can be my authentic, whole, best self. West Shore is my mentor, my teacher, my spiritual guide. West Shore is my brother, my sister, my best friend. West Shore is my dependent. West Shore is my dependent, and if I do all that I can do, West Shore will be part of my legacy. It's just us. It's me, it's Dawn, it's you. That's why your contribution makes a huge difference at West Shore. What can you do?
The offering will now be given and greatly received.
Please say with me our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again. Today we heard a degree of lament for the way technology sometimes drives a wedge between people. We also heard how it brings us together in new, unexpected ways. We're still uncovering these new paths with the youth to guide us in our explorations. Perhaps being a teen in today's hyper-technical world isn't so different than when all of us adults were growing up. Maybe across generations, there's a lot of listening and learning to be done. Our mutual hope for the future is a world with decreased barriers and increased sensitivity, tolerance, and respect for the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Blessings to you and your relations. Amen and blessed be.